Hey friends, let's talk about the chemicals involved in hunger and why some people get hangry, because it's a real thing. There's a few regions in your brain that are responsible for the function of hunger, but the most important one is the hypothalamus. It's right in the middle of your brain. So if you point to your eyes, then you're pointing at it. It's right behind your pineal gland, and it's pretty much right in the middle of your melon. Now, the hypothalamus, it detects and reacts to signals in your blood, and it tells your body how quickly to metabolize energy. This happens through more than 20 neurotransmitters that branch out. Now, there's a part of your hypothalamus that also tells your body to stop eating. It's called the ventromedial nucleus. Okay, sidestep. Ventro and dorsal, also known as anterior and posterior. Think of it this way. A dorsal fin is on the backside. It's dorsal. It's where your derriere is. It's your posterior. So dorsolateral and posterior are the back. Now, by contrast, ventro or anterior would be your front side. Except oddly, this doesn't apply to your feet. I know it's weird, but imagine your feet are sharks walking in the water and the fins are on the top. Okay, that's the dorsal side. So by contrast, the ventral or the anterior would be the soles of your feet. Okay, back to the hypothalamus. The ventromedial nucleus then would be located in the front middle part of the hypothalamus. Now, if this area gets stimulated by neurotransmitters, it tells your body to stop eating. But if there's damage to this area, then the person could eat a lot more in one sitting. Now, in contrast, the lateral hypothalamus, which is part of the backside, well, when it gets damaged, a person could sit and eat an entire meal, even if just having finished one. But if this area is destroyed, then the person would stop eating altogether, just entirely. Now, similarly, the paraventricular nucleus in the hypothalamus assists in the regulation of hunger, but it plays a key role in regulating several other functions too, like stress, metabolism, growth, immunity, and so much more. But damage to this area almost always garners obesity as a result. Now, there's some cool chemicals in the brain that stimulate different food cravings, like neuropeptide Y that makes you eat carbs, or serotonin that quells that carb craving. Another one called galanin, it causes high fat cravings, but likewise, enterostatin reduces it. These hypothalamic receptors are the same things that marijuana stimulates in the brain, so essentially the munchies are created by stimulation of these same hypothalamic receptors. A peptide called YY3-36 is released to make you feel full. And PYY336 is found in the greatest concentration in your colon area, which is a fantastic example of the gut-brain balance for overall health. It can help with everything from bone density to a healthy liver. And yes, we are limited to the availability of certain foods in our environment, but typically those chemicals will cause cravings related to a hunger in which you are aware of. You're not going to crave a food you've never had. So you're going to get the nutrients through the foods that your body recognizes. Okay, hunger, let's talk about that because it's a very real thing. Hunger happens when the glucose levels in your body drop and your brain tells several organs to synthesize. So they release hormones to increase your glucose. There's 4 main ones. The growth hormone from the pituitary gland, and then there's glucagon from the pancreas. There's also cortisol and adrenaline, sometimes called epinephrine, but these both come from the adrenal glands. And they're actually stress hormones too. They're released at any given time during any stressful situation, not just during low blood glucose levels. Adrenaline is also responsible for the fight or flight response. Okay, remember before how we talked about peptide YY336? Well, there's another Y peptide called Y1, which is also the regulatory receptor for anger and aggression. Now, it's even been shown that people with high levels of Y in their cerebrospinal fluid have very high levels of impulsive aggression. So never poke a hangry bear, unless, of course, there's a picnic basket at the end of the stick